I'd love to welcome you to the booth at STS School. We're hosting the One Act Festival for Zone 5 this year. So I'm going to show you how to program a cue into our board, cue by cue and light by light, and I'll show you how to use the sliders as well. So in order to program a cue, of course, first of all, you need to have it off of blackout. The stage is going to be clear for you. Each of the lights on the diagram that we've sent you has a location here. So let's say that you would like to have a light on the apron on stage right. So say you want front stage right on the apron. You're going to choose from your lighting plot light number 11 on the cue pad and the number pad here. So you're going to do 11 and you're going to say at full, which is over here on the left, or sorry, on the right. And you're going to find the light comes up individually on the stage. If you'd like to build in more lights on top of that, you just continue down the lighting plot and sheet to cover your stage with the lights that you're interested in. None of these lights have any gel color in them, so they're all going to be generally pretty warm lights. So now I want some light backstage. Let's do backstage left. So I'm going to say choose the number. I want light number 16. I'm going to say at full and hit enter, and that light's going to come back on the piano. So I'm slowly adding my lights in one at a time. These are warm lights. I'm going to choose light number 18 now at full, and that gives me light at the back on the left. So now I just one at a time add these lights in, and you can find those lights on the diagram that we sent you, so you can add your lights together all at one time. If I want to add the lights not one at a time, entering them one at a time, I can add them together. So I'm going to clear my the lights that I've queued up here. So all I'm going to do is say clear the whole thing. I'll say 1 through 700 at 00, enter, and that will clear my stage completely. I can add these in together all at the same time in one cue. So I will say 11 plus 16 plus 17. I'll say at full, enter, and those three lights will come up together. So those are all of the lights that don't have gels in them or gobos in them. They're just the wash lights. So I'm going to take those out. 1 through 700 at 0, enter, we'll clear them out. I have a set of lights that are LED color lights, so I'm going to move to those lights right now. And you can see on the screens that my cues are coming up over on the left-hand side and the individual lights are on the right-hand side. So if you're not sure where you're at or what you've just programmed, you can see that nothing's been programmed yet. I'm not sure if I want number 2, so I say number 2 at full. Oh, I guess I don't have a light there. So I'm going to say number 3 at full. I guess I don't have one there either. Oh, good. We know we have one at 10. So that particular light will also light up on the screen so that you know that you've chosen it. And it tells you FL means full, so you know that it's full strength right now. The roller on the side, on the right, actually will dim that single light for you because you've chosen it and it's highlighted here on the screen. You can see that the intensity is lowering, so you can choose a light at a time to do that. You can bring it down if you want to, or bring it up, or program it at whatever percentage you want it to be at. So I'm going to clear that guy out. If it's not highlighted on the screen, you haven't chosen it, it's not going to go out. You have to make sure that it's lit in yellow to know that you've selected that light. All right, so those generally tend to be the lights from 1 to about 35, I think, and then further down from in the hundreds. I'm going to show you now the colored lights. So I'm going to move my mouse down to the lights that are typically the LEDs that are patched in. There are 2 sets of colored lights that you can choose. Those are numbered 121 to 134. So I'm going to choose 121 right now. I'm going to say I want it at full, and it comes up whatever color I choose it to be. Now I can change the color of that light by going up to the panel that shows the beams, and I can change it to any color that I want it to be. So I'm changing it, and it's a really simple thing to change because you can move your mouse around on, pick whatever color you want. I can also choose to change the whole thing. If I wanted all of those 12 lights to change, I would say 121 through, so that you gather them all together, 134 at full. And then I can choose a color. They're all lit up now, so I can choose a single color for them by going to the pad, up to the beams, and changing the color as a whole group. You can also, obviously, if you were to unclick on the ones you don't want, let's say I only want 3 lights to change color, I go up to the beams again. I have all of the lights selected. They're all up, sorry, but I've only selected 3 that I want to change the color on. If I click on that, it's only going to change the 3 lights that I need to change, and the rest stay up. So that's I would encourage knowing the colors you want ahead of time, what side of the stage you want them on, so that you can select them really easily and change the colors that you want. One thing I would say about the lights at our school is that the LED color lights don't cover the whole stage. There's not enough, so there's pockets. So here and there you might want to fill light a little bit. So if I choose, I'll do 121 through 134 at full, and I want them, let's say we want them to be something. So let's say I would like this sort of color. You can see that there's some shadow on the stage. So I would probably choose to go back up to some of my Fresnel lights and just fill in some shadow here. So I would say maybe I do 16 at 60%, and that might fill up some of the front. So that's some of the things you need to know just a little bit about, because it's such a big stage, pretty wide stage, so we do fill some of the shadow sometimes with some of these other lights that aren't color. But it doesn't generally affect the color too much. So I'm going to take my LED stage lights out. So I'll do 121 through 134 at 00, which takes all of those lights out. Or it's supposed to. Did I not choose them? I'll just choose them this way. So there we go. I'm going to take those guys out. Oh, there we go. And I guess 16. Okay. I'm going to show you the lights on the cyc now. These are lights specifically pointed right at the cyc, and you can have some color effect there. These are all LEDs as well. So I'm going to choose 101 through 106 at full to bring the light up. And I get a nice blue on, I guess that's the last thing we use there. I can also choose to change them independently. These are exactly like the lights that you have on the floor. So now I can blend colors. I can do whatever I want there in terms of separating them out. So there's choices around colors there as well. There's not any choice of focus of either of those lights. They're, what's the word I'm looking for?
Fixed light.
They're fixed light, that's right. Okay, so now I'm going to take out the all of the lights. I'm going to take out all of the LED lights. I'm going to show you the 5 moving lights that we have. So these are spotlights that you can choose independently, and you can put them anywhere on the stage because they move and they also have color. So I'm going to choose light number 50, which is our first moving light at full. Oh, wait, let me clear everything out. Okay, so 50 at full gives me something really weird. Okay, so there's it's a clear spot. I can also adjust the shape of it, and I can adjust the color of it. So if that's, say, where I want the spot and I want it to be green, I would just go up to the beam again, which is what has all the features on it. And I would choose a new color, or I would choose to, so I want it to be white, but I want it to be a bit smaller. I would go over to edge. Oh, this isn't the greatest one. Okay. And it widens the circle for you, widens the focus. Or I can make it more, make the, what's the word I'm looking for? Wider. Wider iris? I don't know. Anyway, carrying on. We also have some options as far as gobos, so you can choose shapes. I know some people want a disco ball effect, so there are some things that you can do. You can choose different gobos in the spotlights, or you can leave them open, and you can also choose to have them move. So this one, this is a moving gobo in, and so there's different speeds, different, I can change the speed of it, yes, by choosing the beam fixture and speeding up the rotation. So these are going faster now, or I can slow them down or change directions. If I don't want any of those things, I just leave it open and I have my spotlight. Again, you have a lot of options here, so I would encourage you to have a really clear idea of what you want to do with your lights before you show up so that we can easily program them in for you. Now, if you're wanting to change the position of the light, so say I want that shape of light and that color, but I want it in a different spot, there are two toggles here, two controls that will change the pan and the tilt of the light. So I can move the light, I can change the pan here by moving it, by circling it with my finger, and it moves around the stage wherever I want it to be. Or I can change the tilt of it, which will alter the direction on the stage. So one of the pan will give you an option to move it back, and the tilt will give you the option to move it from side to side. Now, this all depends on where the light is sitting in the first place. So if it is in the middle, you'll have to play with both the pan and the tilt to get it into the position that you want it to be. In programming this particular light, it has a memory for its original position. So if I was to use this light and program it, we have some ball. Okay, you guys need to get out of here. We're filming. Oh yeah. Now you're famous. Yeah. So in this particular case, this is where, that's where the light is. I am going to record this cue. Oh, sorry, I haven't shown recording cues. I'll actually do that in a minute because it makes more sense when I'm recording cues. So that particular light can move anywhere. The moving lights that we have two different kinds of moving lights. So I'm going to take, and I'm going to, I believe, so these are a bit of a softer light. It's a bit less sharp in terms of its particular beam position and shape, but you can make it bigger and smaller. This is a lovely light that you can change colors of as well. There's 3 of these and 2 of the very tight spots that if you are wanting those. So you have 5 choices of lights. I'm going to bring them all up here for moving lights. So your lights are 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, and those are all lights that you can move and you can change the shape of. 50 and 52 are both lights that have gobos in them already. So they change colors and they change shape, and 2 of them have gobos in them. And those are basically going to be their spotlights. If you need a spot, these are the 5 lights you have to choose from for that. So I'm going to take those out. Now I'm going to show you how to program a cue. Okay, so before I go to cueing, if you're really happy with washes, the easiest thing that you can do, I have 2 washes on sliders. So if it's as simple as I just want a wash up and a wash down, you have a light wash, or sorry, let me see which is, this would be my warmer wash, and it is on slider number 20. Or there is a nice sort of cool wash that you can use that we can change around a little bit. So if it's as simple as that, if your cues are very, very simple, these are really good options if you're not comfortable with a lot of cueing. That being said, I'm going to show you how to build a cue. So let's say I want a red wash to open my show. I'm going to choose my colored LED lights. So I'll do 121 through 134 at full. I've chosen them. I'm going to choose my color by going up to the beam, selecting the red color that I want. Let's say it's that. Ooh, it's pretty pink. Okay, there's my red, more or less. And then I'm going to have to save that information into, and maybe let's say I also want 16 in there. So I choose 16 specifically at full. Oh, maybe that's a bad one. Let's see. Let's try 11 at full. Well, let's try adding something in like 17 at full. It's not liking it. Okay, so this is my light cue, the plot that I want for my opening. I'm going to hit the record button that's up in the left-hand corner, or the left-hand pad, but it's on the right. So I'm going to hit record. I'm going to hit cue, and you will be given a group of cues that you can use. So you'll be given 100 patch of 100 to use. So let's say mine is, I'm going to go to 2000 because I don't think there's any lights there. So I'm going to have light cues from 2000 to 2000 to 2100. So I'm going to say this will be my first cue. I'm going to record it as cue 2000, and I'm going to hit enter. And it's going to ask you to confirm it. So I'm going to confirm that, enter, enter. Then I have to clear those out. So I always do, I clear the whole thing. And if I then go to cue 2000, those lights will come up for me. One thing I would highly encourage is some idea of how long you want the lights to come up, because there's a time feature on our light that will speed up the lights or slow them down for however long you want them to dim or to come to full. So that happens on the left-hand pad. You hit time. It gives you an option. I'm going to say I want this to come up in let's give it 3 seconds, and then I hit enter. So now, when I look over here, Q2000 its interval will be 3 seconds long. Its duration will take 3 seconds to come up, so that if I do 1 through, and I go to my cue, go to Q2000, it will take 3 seconds for those lights to come up instead of 5. 5 is a default. So you'll want to know if you want that or not. And these are the lights that we've programmed in, and they've come up, and this is how we start our show. So the next cue would obviously be, let's say we want to change those cues to blue, those lights to blue. So, actually I can just do it this way. So I'm going to take my Q2000, I'm going to go choose them all. And let's say I want to change them to blue all of a sudden. That's maybe my choice. So that's what my next cue is supposed to be. I'm going to record that cue as 2001. Enter, enter. It asks for you to confirm it. You clear it all out. And if you go to your cue 2000, so we've got cue 2000, our next cue, and that came up in 3 seconds. We want our next cue 2001 to come up in 5 seconds. We hit go, and in 5 seconds we get our new color, whatever we want there. So once you know what you want, it's really easy to program them in and make the changes that you want. And if you would like to do the sliders as a cue, let's say you basically want to use the cues, but you'd rather just use the washes, you would bring up the slider. and then you record it as a cue. So you do record cue. I'm going to overwrite my 2000 that I have, 2000, and I'm going to enter, oh, clear. Then I can go to cue 2000, and it's overwritten that red that I had before, and it's the same thing. It's the slider wash, but now you have it as a cue. And then basically once all your cues are in the system, you're just going to do go, 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 and you have very little to worry about. So as soon as it's programmed in, you can make changes to it. I want to show you one other thing. I know this is long. Is that okay? Okay.
That's awesome.
Okay, so let's say your cue is cue, you want to go to cue 2000, and you hit enter, and you're like, oh, whoops, I wanted to have the red one come right after, but I accidentally programmed in a blue one. You can actually use decimal points to slide a cue in underneath the other one. So if I actually want that red light, this is how I would do it. I would go to my 2001, and it's going to change to that blue scene that I had. But I want those to be red, I've decided. And they need to sneak in between my wash and my blue. So here's what I want. I can now record this in between 2000 and 2001. I would record cue, and I would probably use decimal 5 here. So I would say 2000, decimal 5, enter, enter. Okay, I clear my board. I will go to my cue 2000, which should just be the wash that I originally programmed. I do go, 2005 becomes that pinky red thing that I chose. So it snuck it between the regular wash and the blue wash, and then the next one that I have should go to that blue one that I want. So you can make a mistake and fix it really easily if you know your decimals, people. So it's math. It's a joke. Okay, so I've shown you the sliders. I'm going to show you, the last thing I'm going to show you is using a spotlight and the little trick that we have with our spotlights here. Okay, so I'm going to leave the blue up, and I say I want a spotlight right in the center. Oh, actually, I'm going to move that spotlight. So that's the light that I want, but I want it to come up. Let's move it. I want it to come up right over here. Okay, perfect. So this particular light needs to start there. It doesn't need to move there. We can also do moving lights, but we need it to just come up and stay there. What we're going to do is we're going to record this cue as cue 2002. And then we're going to go back a step. What that means is we have to put the light in position before the light comes up. Otherwise, it travels there, and it pulls the light with you. It'll already be up while it's traveling, and that's probably not what you're wanting if you want it to be quick. So you're going to take light 50 and put it out, but you're going to record this cue as 2001.5 so that that light moves there before it comes up. So I'm going to do record cue 2001.5, and I'm going to make my time, I'll make my time 0 so it takes no time to get there. Enter, enter. Okay, I'm going to clear all that out, and I'm going to go to my first cue. There's my wash that I want the show to start at. It comes up in 3 seconds. My next cue is the red cue, or pinky red cue that I chose. The next cue is my blue cue. These are all 5-second. Other than the first one, they take 5 seconds. I have made cue 2001.5. Everything's the same except that 50 is black. It's out. So it should be there now. And then when I hit cue 2002, it comes up in the spot that I want it to come up in. The other thing I will show you though is some schools, I have mentioned to schools that we use the doors as entrances and exits.
Yeah.
There are lights for those. They're lights 111 and 112, and they light up the aisles. The nice thing about them is that they're also LEDs, so you can make some choices about color there too. So you can choose whatever color you need to have people come through. And it's because we only have the two sides that we tend to play with that a bit.
That's cool.
Yeah, so those are your options there for lights. You can also bring them up separately. So if I didn't want the front lights, but I wanted the back lights for some reason, that's separate. So you can bring them up in two sections.